and sit down.
Ooh, what was that? You could almost call that a tease of what I'm going to be discussing this morning. Welcome to Mornings with Andy. Hello, it is Thursday. I played taxi cab driver this morning a little bit, taking my daughter to work. And then after that, I have a fun-filled dentist appointment that I can't wait to go to. I love getting my teeth cleaned. I just had breakfast, and instead of brushing my teeth as usual, it's like washing your car before going to the car wash. Why would I do that? I'm going there for a teeth cleaning. Let them do it. What is up, AJ Tom? Hello, Damafino. Welcome. JP Roca, what is up? Dr. Mask, hello. Let's welcome to the stream my buddy and yours, Snow Sleeve Dennis is in the house.
Yeah. Good morning, everybody. Wow. So that intro. So what are you teasing? I couldn't tell if it was the new movie Scream or if it was the Dallas Cowboys new season.
Oh, damn. Damn. From all the way across town, Dennis manages to reach through the screen and punch me right in the balls first thing in the morning.
I was going to say the hard, but Rochambeau.
Man, I tell you, I got to sneeze. Oh, shit. I just blew half my brains out.
Wow, it took
Eat some Oreo cookies just before you go. I'm not that much of a monster.
Oh.
But yeah, Dennis and I went and we saw Scream. And then after we saw Scream, we got all caught up on the first 3 episodes of Peacemaker. So Peyton says it is 4:46 a.m. Ugh. Well, glad you're awake, or maybe you're about to go to bed.
A West Coast person.
Not a cold, just had to sneeze. Every now and then you get that little tickle up in your nose and you just got to sneeze. And that's what I did. So yeah, so we went and saw Scream. For those young people out there, you might not know Scream was a movie that came out originally in 1996, all the way back in Dennis and I weren't even 30 years old yet when that movie came out.
Not even. That's nice.
We were two young bucks in our mid-20s. We already sowed our seeds, both locked down with our women's, or as if you've watched Soylent Green, our furniture.
Our furniture. And yes,
That's
we
right.
did. I have seen Soylent Green now, which will be a topic we'll talk about when I get back from Florida.
That's right. I will watch Soylent Green so we can talk about it when he's back. But the movie Scream. So I believe the last Scream movie came out. I think I saw it was like 2011, which
I thought it was the last one. Really, I did. I didn't think they were going to be able to. I was like, what's the point after this?
not only that, but I actually, if you would have asked me when was the last time, what year did the last Scream movie come out, I would have actually said early 2000s, like before 2005. I can't believe that a Scream movie came out in 2011. I don't really even remember much about it, to tell
That's
you the
because it
truth.
wasn't very good, which they make reference to in the movie, which is great.
Yeah, this movie definitely, would you say it pokes fun at itself?
In a way,
At the
yes,
franchise?
because they can't call it Scream, because Courtney Cox, who plays Gail Weathers, she basically said, "Look, I'm going to write about this." But then in her book, which became movies, it became Stab. So it's instead of Scream, it's the Stab movies for those of you who haven't seen it. And this dates back because her, Nev Campbell, and David Arquette were the originals that were in it, which was great. They've kind of gone downhill. The last one was just atrocious. It's so bad. I barely even remember it. I'm sure I saw it, but I could care less. It was just a money grab. So this movie brings back the original characters in an actually really good storyline that introduces the new generation and what happens and kind of mixes the old, the new generation, brings them together. It was great. It was absolutely great.
Yes, former WCW champion David Arquette was in it. Courtney Cox was in it. Nev Campbell, right? I got her name right,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Nev Campbell was
She
in it.
still looks good.
Nev Campbell still looks good. David
Yes.
Arquette, for a dude, is aging well. I mean, it's really hard for men to not age well. You just have to say that's one of our natural powers is men usually age well. Courtney Cox, on the other hand, I could do less with the close-ups. She definitely is not aging like fine wine. She's had work done.
I
And
think the plastic is starting to melt in the heat lamp.
the older she might unfortunately go the Nancy Pelosi route, the older she gets. Because look, as much as I don't like Nancy Pelosi, if you Google young Nancy Pelosi, she was not atrocious. And she is what, 80 or close to it, but she's had she's bad. Anyhow, back to the movie. Nancy Pelosi makes me scream. Uh
Oh, oh, Bone Tomahawk.
was he in Bone Tomahawk? I don't remember him being in it.
He wasn't the main, because obviously that was
Kurt
who was
Russell
it?
was the main.
Yeah, Bone Tomahawk.
Kurt
That's
Russell
awesome.
was the main guy. Bone Tomahawk was great. I just don't remember David Arquette. Huh. Maybe because he was terrible. But Scream starts off with obviously Ghostface trying to kill somebody. He was in the beginning. That's probably why I don't remember it, because he just didn't have a big part.
No, he wasn't. He wasn't a big player because I knew Patrick Wilson was in it.
Yeah.
Matthew Fox. I had to actually look it up. I don't even know if he's not even in the main credits. But yeah, he was just an extra, basically, dude.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So anyhow, Scream starts off, Ghostface, reintroduce Ghostface. They actually did a nice job in the beginning with that initial, because it starts off with the whole phone call to the girl, and it's like, the voice modulator messing with her and stuff. And he asks if she wants to play a game, but they do a nice job actually of re of telling the story of the previous Scream stuff in that phone call. I thought, like, if you never saw a Scream movie and you're like, well, this will be my first one, within that first 10 minutes, you pretty much know what it's about and stuff. I thought they did that in an inventive way with the Ghostface dude on the phone with the teenage girl before he comes into the house and goes to her. And then they start talking about Stab, which is the movie within the movie based on Gail, which is Courtney Cox, her character's books that she's written. And they basically talk about how the franchise went downhill. The last movie, which it was pretty funny, the last movie they actually showed, the last Stab movie in the movie, they actually did show some clips of kids watching it, or the teenagers watching it on TV. And they were kind of making fun at how Friday the 13th and Halloween went over the rails, where in the last Stab movie, Ghostface had the mask and the cloak, but his arms were bare and he was kind of buff and he was shooting a gun and stuff. So, that was a nice little poke at how bad sequels can go and how off the tracks they can go.
Yeah, there's tropes. They all have tropes throughout all of them. The girl who played Mindy, she was the expert on the Stab movies, and she's like, "Oh, there's always two, and it's always the love interest that you have to be on." And they're like, "Well, how do you know so much? That means you're the killer." So they always did a nice job of winding around each other and then making you second guess who you think the killer or killers could be. It was actually a really well done movie. And I saw AJ was mentioning Sid Haig. Yes, he was in the beginning. Sid Haig, side note, for those of you sci-fi buffs out there, he was in Jason of Star Command, Saturday morning TV. So see if you guys remember that, Jason of Star Command. But
I do
anyway,
not.
yeah, good. It was the sequel to, it was a spinoff of Space Academy. Which was James Doohan, and then I can't remember the guy who played Dr. Smith from the original Lost in Space. He was the main commander of Jason of Star Command. Or do I got it backwards? I might have it backwards. So
Darn
anyway,
it.
just a side note. But no, this movie did a great job of playing through what the tropes were in it. They make fun of themselves in a very good way. It was enjoyable what they did, how they brought back the original characters. So if you're a big fan of the series, then you did get your affection for all the original characters. They had very good characters from the new group that came in that were being brought into it. They tied everything with good history and from the original Scream, who the original serial killers were. And they did a great job of wrapping this up and putting a nice bow tie on it. And I'll just say, I think this will probably be the end of the series. And if so, which I hope it is, they ended on a good note.
Yeah, if you go see it, there's no after credit stuff. So as soon as the credits start to roll, you can jump out of your seat and go. Like Dennis said, I think they did wrap it up with a nice bow, kind of like Dexter New Blood, where I think they realized, man, we really shit the bed with how Dexter ended, 8-9 years ago. Let's fix it, and they did. And you can go back to a Dennis and Andy show video where we talk about that. They did kind of the same thing with Scream. They probably realized, we didn't end it well. Let's get out there and really try to rework this and really finish it nicely. The main girl in the movie, has a twist with who her dad is, which is pretty cool. As Dennis said, the expert of the group of teenagers on these movies and stuff points out things in the beginning of the movie when they're all gathered around trying to figure out who it is, when they decide to basically try and solve this, like the mystery Scooby-Doo gang. She points out a few things that, they try to do a swerve because she points out a few things. You're like, well, none of this is going to come true, because why would she point it out that blatantly? So, without giving a lot away, it is entertaining. It is fun. No, Dr. Mass says, glad it wasn't woke BS. It's not, I mean,
it's got one unbelievable thing that Andy and I talked about right afterwards when you find out who one of the killers is, and you're like, yeah, there's no way.
yeah, I mean, there is one thing. Yeah, when you find out who one of the killers is, and if you reflect back on one of the kills, I told Dennis, I said, I really hate that crap because there's just no way.
Yeah,
but it's not really it's not woke or anything. It's just not really logical, which you say, well, this isn't a logical movie anyhow with the premise. You're right. But unlike superhero movies where you really do suspend the disbelief and go, oh, yeah, a guy can fly, a dude has a magic hammer, all that, and you're sucked into that world. When they do these slasher movies, you want to give it some sense of realism. Like, this isn't going to be a shock to anybody. The ghost character, the villain, ghost killer at one point gets shot. Well, they're not dead because they're wearing a bulletproof vest. Now the audience knows that. The dummies in the movie don't think that, but the audience knows it. They show it later on, so it makes sense.
The trope once again comes up where David Arquette's like, that's right. You got to shoot him in the head.
Right. You got to shoot him in the head. And that was a good scene. So yeah. So I mean, rating wise, I think I remember that.
I do not remember that. I remember Saturday the 14th, the movie, which was a really fun parody movie from way back when, early 80s. But I do not remember the musical.
No. CGC rating time for Scream. I will give it, I guess I'll give it a 7.5. I'll go with 7.5.
I'm giving it an 8.0. I thought it was really good. I liked it much better. I watched Scream 2 the other day. Courtney was so hot back then. Yeah, that is exactly. I'm going to be honest. I had a hard time looking at her.
Really? And, I mean, she's got
her in Cougar Town, and we saw the start of it when she was in Cougar Town because my wife loved that show. And yeah, it was really difficult. I think she went down the old plastic surgery, and it just did not go well, which is too bad because she had classic beauty. I really wish she would have just stayed, the way she was and aged naturally. But that's my humble opinion.
So you give it an 8.0, huh?
Yep, I thought it was a good way to end the series. Hopefully, it is the end. I really enjoyed that they brought everybody back. It was fun. There was good action. Other than a couple of little nitpicky, unbelievable things that were in there, it was just totally fun. And the fact when you're going, no, why are you doing that? That makes no sense. You're stupid. You deserve to die. But that is one of the tropes in all the Scream movies. I loved it. I was never bored through this movie, and I just thought it ended it well. Great.
Mythic Punisher wants to know, and thank you for watching. Is Dexter New Blood a reboot, or does it continue? It continues. It continues. The series ended, I believe, in 2013. So not quite 10 years later, the show picks up. 10 years later. So pretty close, but it picks up. It is not a reboot at all. I think they put a nice bow tie, whatever ribbon on Dexter. They wrapped it up nicely, put a nice bow on it, and called it a day. So if you were a Dexter fan back then, you'll be a Dexter fan now. Dennis has classic beauty, like a raid cone with arms. Okay.
He corrected it. A road cone.
Road cone.
Now, I used to have a blaze orange. It would be even better if I had my old blaze orange from when I lived up in Wisconsin and used to deer hunt. But I don't have that anymore. But I would be much more in agreement with you. It is classic beauty. And I'm really not the cone shaped either. I'm more pear.
I have classic beauty, like the old statue. I believe who's that? Who's the statue Michelangelo did the full body statue of? His arms like whatever this or whatever.
David?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm built just like that from the waist down. So.
Oh, so you're missing that.
No, it's a full body. What are you talking about?
Yeah, but I didn't it fall off? Isn't it
No.
in the statue?
It just looks like it because it's so tiny. It was cold the day that they sculpted that.
Pink leaf back on.
If the new Scream wasn't based on Wes's writing, I think they did him proud. They actually gave a nod at the end when they said, thanks Wes or whatever, and type on the screen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep,
so
they did, and they made one of the characters in there was actually named Wes. So, I actually thought they did that because of Wes. And then at the end, it basically thanked him in memory and everything. So honestly, I think if he were there to see it, he would have enjoyed how it ended.
Yep, I agree. Peyton Holden says, and I know he wants me to say it in my voice, he says, look at these two people. And that's right. Don't forget that Mornings with Andy is not DNA. That means you need to go back. First Man Volume 2. There's the link. Thank you for posting it. And yes, if you're just joining us, please like and subscribe to my channel. Hit the little thumbs up. And please go back First Man. It's because of your support that allows me to do the book. Now on to Peacemaker. Peacemaker was a character originally created by Charlton, I believe. DC bought all those characters a while back. I don't know much about Peacemaker, except for honestly what I saw of the character in Suicide Squad. He's played by John CCP Cena. So that's how I like to refer to him. And since I don't know anything really about the character, I can't say if they're not playing him, correctly or not, because they're definitely in the movie and definitely the show. I mean, the show's definitely more comedy action than drama action. He's kind of, he's not a goof.
Yeah, it picks up. This picks up a little after Suicide Squad.
Right. Where, at the end of Suicide Squad, he was shot.
Right.
So he's released from the hospital. The first episode, he basically gets released from the hospital. He doesn't know. What was that? He doesn't know or realize. Wait, I think Pat Boyette drew most of the Charlton run. Oh, that's cool. I have to check that stuff out. So when he gets released from the hospital, he's like, "Wait a second, I'm not going back to jail. There's not cops here," and he really can't believe it. So he almost sneaks out of the hospital. It's pretty funny. The show is I think it's very entertaining. I think Cena's actually doing a really good job acting wise, because I've seen him in a few things. I've seen him. Obviously, he's been in some of he's been in Fast and Furious. He was in the last one of those. He's done dramas. obviously action because he's a big dude, so that's what they play him as. He's been in comedies. You know, he was in this comedy where he was a fireman up in I think the California mountains or whatever, and that was a funny movie. And now he's doing this. And you know, is he Oscar worthy? No, but you know, I think he's doing a good job transitioning over to this acting side of things. Oh, and I also thought it was interesting that he's an executive producer on the show as well.
Yeah, you can definitely tell James Gunn has he's behind it. It's got a lot of the flair and the stylization that he likes to put in it. Even the opening credits, you know, it's a dance scene. And it's basically the group and the main characters, and they all get out there and dance. And it's just atrocious, especially how John Cena's dancing with everybody in the outfit, and it's horrific almost, but it's like a train wreck. You can't take your eyes off of it.
Yeah, the opening sequence, he's right. It's a dance number, and I think it's so bad it's good. Justin Ward says, do you think the writers wrote the F word in every fifth word in the script, or is it improvised? Either way, it sounds horrible, so forced just for the sake of saying it. You know, it might be improvised. Some of the stuff might be improvised. I'm not sure how good an actor John Cena is, the improvised stuff. I mean, coming from the WWE, where basically you have bullet points of what you're supposed to cover when you go out into the ring and just start spouting off on the mic, he's probably pretty good at it. In regards to the F word, I'll be honest. I've, you know, just hanging out with some of my friends, you know, mostly guys. I mean, it flows pretty freely. So I didn't look at it like, damn, every other word is the F word. It just, I don't know. I know people that talk like that, you know, and honestly, I'm almost like that. And the reason I'm not on a stream is, and this is, you know, serious reason, is because I did radio. I had a radio show for a couple of years with some buddies about 12 years ago, and you can't say that stuff on the radio. So it's kind of like something I'm just used to turning off, I guess. But you know, the whole plot is a couple of the members from Amanda Waller's team from Suicide Squad, you'll recognize them, and then a couple of new actors are, you know, create this team, and they're tasked with basically recruiting John Cena, whether he likes it or not, because he still does have the little explosive in his head, and to go out and basically be a hitman. You know, you meet the vigilante. Now, I do know some about the vigilante character. Henry Thrun, good morning to you as well. Thank you for joining. Yeah, I mean, this is a great point. Cena used to do rap, so I think he's good at improvising. He probably is. So, and Luffy is God. Thank you for joining. Just saw you. When you apologize and denounce the country of Taiwan, the least you should do is get an executive producer credit on your next project. Exactly. That's how you roll in Hollywood.
Great comment. Great comment.
That's what I'm going to do in one of my next videos, so I can get an executive producer role on the Dennis and Andy show. Dennis said, yep. Look, Smith, if you want an executive producer role, because my name comes first in that byline in the title, you need to say something I don't like and then immediately apologize really in a fake way. And I'm like, okay, I will. So Vigilante, Dr. Mass says Vigilante was a cool comic. Now, I only read a few of the issues back in the day, but I don't think Vigilante was a goofball like he's being played or portrayed in Peacemaker. Now, don't get me wrong. I like the actor. I like the costume. I thought, you know, Peacemaker, they nailed the costume right with the comic. The actor that plays Vigilante, I like him. I like the costume design, but he's kind of a goofball. And I just don't, I think that's the one where it went off the rails with Vigilante, because he was not a goofball in the comics. In this show, it's almost like Vigilante's coming across going, oh, this is just fun to play dress up, and it's like a game and I kill people. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, he's more of the in there for hammy comic relief, um, to accentuate Peacemaker's comedic ability in this. And I agree. I don't think it's quite right. I was never a huge fan of Peacemaker Vigilante. I read some back in the day. I doubt I even own them anymore. But I do kind of like to see their take on it, and it is kind of fun. But yeah, I don't think it's realistic. The one character that I absolutely loved is we find Peacemaker's dad, who's played by Robert Patrick.
Yeah, Peacemaker.
Honestly,
Robert
he
Patrick,
makes the show to
obviously.
me.
Yeah, Robert Patrick in anything is good, and it's so funny. He's one of those guys. We first saw him in Terminator way back when 30 years ago. Even though he's obviously gained weight and he's older, he just has that recognizable face. He is fan freaking tastic in this show.
Yes.
He steals the scenes that he's in. He's fantastic. I don't remember
And
the actress's name, but there's an actress in the show from she was in Orange is the New Black. It's this black woman. She's heavy set, very funny. She's great. The whole team that they put around Peacemaker that works for Waller, every one of them I think is really awesome. They all
yeah,
have unique characteristics, and
the girl who
they're just
plays Amelia
hysterical.
Harcourt, she's hot. Daniel Brooks is the one you're thinking of. She's great. Even the guy who's the John something. He's the guy who plays the analyst, the newer guy, the heavier set nerd guy. He's funny, but really, Robert Patrick just steals everything when he's in the scene. They got a really awesome scene where the Eagle, comes over and wraps things
Eagly
around
is
the
John Cena's pet eagle, and I'll
Yeah,
let Dennis describe the scene. But it's his pet eagle. It acts like a dog in regards to they're driving down the road, and Eagly has his head out the window and his tongue's even hanging out. Um, but go ahead, Dennis. You can describe what you're.
it is just great. So he's in their garage. He's at his dad's house. He's come to pick up the Eagle, and Robert Patrick is just great. Oh, I'm out of jail, Dad, and he's like, uh huh. A real man wouldn't have been there in the first place, and
Yeah,
he's just ripping on him on everything he does. He goes out to get it. The Eagle, his dad comes out with him and then leaves. The Eagle puts his hand and actually hugs Peacemaker, and it's great. He's like, look, Dad, look it. He loves me. He's hugging me, Dad. And Robert Patrick just took off.
it was hysterical.
Everything he does, he's a real man's man. And he's
Yeah,
like, I raised you to be I didn't raise you to be a pussy.
yeah.
That was great.
I think it's really funny. Marcus asks or says, "I heard it was pretty woke." Um,
It's got parts, yes. It is
yeah. I mean, I guess it has
definitely,
parts.
it's
I
got
mean,
some woke elements. It's honestly not as bad as I thought it was going to be, but there are definitely elements in there, yes.
yeah. Nothing really. I know there are elements in there, but they're to me they're not. I'd say they're minimal because nothing's really jumping out at me. I'm sure I don't want to talk spoilers and stuff, and everybody that watches this show knows how my memory is. I'm sure Dennis could be like, "Well, remember this scene?" And I'd go, "Oh yeah." Oh well,
I
yeah.
would say,
Justin Ward said, "How about the lesbian black couple just for the sake of meeting quota?"
yep.
Ah, whatever. The thing with at least the actress that they cast for that couple, you could kind of go, "Oh, that makes sense."
Yeah, you could see they had their spat and everything. They kind of show a scene through the window, and Yeah, no, you're right. They did do some of the check boxes. Um, um, JP Roach says White Dragon, yeah, and that's the big spoiler is really is that you find out who Robert Patrick was, and it's just
Right.
again when he's in the show, he takes the air out of everybody else. When he gets back into prison because he gets framed,
Yeah.
it's awesome. It is just an absolutely incredible scene, and even the guards and know that they're screwed when they find out who it is.
Luffy's God says, did anyone else think that when Peacemaker and Boba Fett came out at the same time, most people would be into Peacemaker over Boba Fett? Star Wars is in trouble. I haven't watched the latest episode of Boba Fett yet. Don't get me wrong, I will. We talk about it after we watch him. I like Boba Fett, but like I've always said, I like Star Wars. When the movies come out, I go see them. The last three were just garbage. Even I know that, not being totally immersed into the Star Wars legacy, I guess you could say. But I'll take Peacemaker. If I had to choose one or the other, I would choose Peacemaker because it's just more my type of show, being more into superheroes and just the theme and the comedy that's in it and stuff like that. So I would definitely take Peacemaker over Boba Fett. Peacemaker is very violent. They don't pull any punches in regards to, I mean, it's hard R with the gore and stuff like that. So, but that doesn't bother me.
They're kind of hard to compare because they're two completely different animals. Peacemaker is an adult superhero show versus this is Disney Plus. So you're very limited on what you can do.
Right.
At best, it's PG-13. It's supposed to be gritty, what you think of Boba Fett, but you can't really do gritty Boba Fett. The Mandalorian was heads and tails better. There are good aspects to it. There's not good aspects to it. But again, you're dealing with a sci-fi with a huge legacy. Now, if you're comparing that, I would take The Expanse over Boba Fett any day of the week. The Expanse was absolutely phenomenal.
Well, and I will say this, and then I got to wrap it because I got to take my daughter to work. I think you're right. I think Boba Fett should be. I wouldn't even qualify Boba Fett as a PG-13. I'd qualify it as a straight up PG rating wise. And
yeah, no, that in the next episode, there's a scene in there where you're going to go, "Oh, damn!" and that'll be the extent of it. I'm just going to say it involves a Wookiee.
Okay, well, okay. Point is, I think if Boba Fett was able to be unrestrained, basically be R-rated, it'd be much better. Because they could show more. And I'm not saying you have to show like heads flying and blood everywhere, but the language could be a little saltier. Which look, it's more realistic. The violence could be a little more amped up a little more to be a little more realistic. On that note, as AJ Tom says, stop over at the First Man campaign and buy Andy a malt liquor. Better yet, buy one for Dennis too. That's right. If you've already supported First Man and you want to support a little more, you can go over there and pop $10 and buy me a beer. And if I'm nice, I'll share it with Dennis.
Malt liquor, specifically a malt liquor, since you've never had one.
That's right. So you can do that. Of course, in the campaign as well, get yourself over there. Get yourself the beautiful First Man 2. If you don't have number 1, you can get First Man 1 as well. You can also get the Black Book, which is a 30-year retrospective showcasing some of the art throughout my 31 years in comics. And if you love nice, soft, comfortable t-shirts, get yourself a First Man tee, First Man on the front, coming at you, and on the back, people will see the lovely penumbra in monochromatic blue. You guys drink 40s? I haven't drank a 40 in a long time. But
I have drank 40s. Colt, baby. Colt.
I've got no problem pounding a 40. If I have to, I can do that. Justin says Dennis doesn't drink that crap. Make sure it's a Mickey's. Okay, so real quick, Peacemaker, as of now, I'm going to give it a 8.0.
I'm giving it a 7.0.
Damn, we're just kind of flipped from Scream and this.
Yeah, I think it's fine. I think it has potential. I really want to see where they're going to go with Augie Smith with White Dragon and see how he's integral in it. Because like I said, he takes the show. But it's not bad, and it's funny. There's definitely some very funny parts. It's got some good graphic, too. We'll see. We'll see.
All right, so that's it. Guys, thank you for joining us as we talked about Scream and Peacemaker. Be sure to always check back, like, and subscribe to the channel. If you haven't watched it yet, on the Dennis and Andy show yesterday, we talked to Mike Barron for an hour. So head over to that channel to watch that show. And please go back first, man. Support it. I thank you all for joining me, supporting, like, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And we'll catch you guys later. Bye, everybody.
Live long and prosper.
Luke Henry, after kicking Monarch's ass to the depths of space, is back on Earth. And now he's looking to save the world from the Fourth World Foundation. Sure, he had help from Penumbra before, but she's not helping him this time. He's got to face it on his own. Look at these four people. He's come for a villain known as Adonis. He'll do it. You'll be there. Back it now. First Man 2, Learning Curve.